I can buy Timini.
Hey, you know, bro, like that's actually like all these your Igbo colleagues, like people carry each other, borrow each other's cars, do all those things.
It's not easy for me to travel out, and people are saying, "Wow, we love you, sniping us, celebrating you."
Timini, you claim to be a bigger actor than he is. Stop playing.
Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, I'm talking about Ebuka Turns Up Africa episodes 1 and 2. It's currently airing on Prime Video. So basically, this is about Ebuka taking a couple of his friends, like 5 of his friends, to just go on a trip, a boys trip, you know, to some countries in Africa. So now I'll be introducing you to the guys on the trip. For one, we have Ebuka Obi-Uchendu, who is a TV host, and he has been on TV for over 17 years. He's a trained lawyer with about 4 degrees in law. You know, he's a husband, he's a father. One that is organizing this trip with a couple of his friends, you know, to just turn up Africa, to just visit different countries in Africa. Then next person I'm talking about will be Jimmie. So Jimmie is a friend of Ebuka, who is also a TV host, and he's also like a very known personality because he speaks on radio, he hosts events and a lot of other things. He's like an entertainment guy, like he's proper hype entertainment guy, and he's also married with a kid. Next person I'll be talking about will be Alistair. So he is a great wedding photographer, is a great event photographer. You know, he's known for his works. Also one of Ebuka's very long-time friend. He also happens to be a lawyer. Somebody else that was invited on the trip was Onoja. So Onoja happens to be Ebuka's long-time friends. They've been friends for over 3 decades or so. So they practically went to university together, and then they've just been friends ever since. So apparently he's, like he says, he is an entertainment impresario. Basically saying, you know, he's the go-to guy for party. Like anything, he's the one that, you know, links people up, hooks things up, and what. That was like the entertainment guy. Next person coming on this trip would be Timini Egbuson, who is, you know, social media influencer. He's an actor. Timini Bad Boy T, like he calls himself. Then last person that we're going on the trip will be Zubby. So Zubby Michael is also an actor. He's a filmmaker, also very good friend with Ebuka. Apparently their hometowns are very close to each other, so they sort of have this brotherly love going on. So apparently, like, Ebuka just brings like different of his friends from, you know, different aspects of life, because you know you have friends from all walks of life, you know, from like school, from business, from industry, you know, like people, like he just have different friends. So he just brought all these different personalities together for this trip. So now everybody was to meet at the hangar, you know, the jets, before they take off through the jets. So that was where everybody came in there. Now everybody now got to see who they're actually going on this trip with. And as I got there, you know, pleasantries here and there, everybody is just greeting and getting cordial with themselves. Jimmie, because I think Timini made a comment about he never fails at something, or he doesn't fail, something along those lines, you know. And Jimmie was like, well, you have one fail, like when you missed my wedding. And it was very awkward because it was not like the right time and the right place to have that conversation. But that's by the way. So when all the guys get there, you know, had a toast and everybody got on the jets, and it was like go time. So they're just there. Then Ebuka finally tells them where they're traveling to. So they were to be going to Rwanda. So everybody was pumped, they were excited. So once they got to Rwanda, everybody like enjoyed the view, the vibrancy of the country, like everything was just beautiful. So they were driven to the villa where they will all be staying at, and the villa looked really good, looked really beautiful. Like had 6 bedrooms, like everything was just top notch. Like, so once they've all like settled in and, you know, just picked their rooms and stuff, you know, everybody gathers by the sitting lounge area, you know, to just talk. Then Ebuka was just more or less just telling them like thank you for coming on the trip with me, and how he like appreciates them like taking time out, because they're obviously losing money, like they're all very busy people, and they just took this time out to go on a trip with him. So we're just very grateful. And in the process of doing that, you know, he had gifts for everybody. So for Onoja, gave him a gift of $1 bill. So apparently just implying that he likes money, or Onoja loves money. You know, he's always talking about money or how to make money The next person he gave a gift to was Alistair. He gave him a gift of apple juice box, because he loves his cognac. Yeah, because he enjoys his drinks. Then Timini's gift was, condoms, and Zubby's gift was sushi, because Zubby doesn't like to try new things, especially to experiment with food. So it was taking him like out of his comfort zone to try fish, raw fish, and Zubby did that, and it was really, really like good that he was open to new experiences. And for Jimmie's gift was a photo of his wife, just holding her ears, and just like to remind Jimmie like, okay, like you're married now, so behave yourself, sort of thing. So yeah, so that was just like a very way to start off the trip. Then on the other end, Timini gets gifts for everybody in the group, because according to him, this is his first time meeting most of them, and it's just simple courtesy to give gifts to people like on a trip and stuff like that. So cause he just came back from Paris, so he like bought things for the guys. I think he called them perfume, so he just was sharing that around. Then I don't know how the conversation came about with how he said he's the biggest actor in Africa, and it was just like, because Zubby was also seated there, and everybody knows Zubby is an actor. And Ebuka was like, okay, Zubby, would you take that sitting down, blah 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 blah. And the conversation picks up from there. So Zubby was like, no, that he is, the biggest actor in Africa, saying, he's known, he has broken the YouTube market, DVD market. This was just basically selling himself. And Timini on the other end was just saying that in my 13 years or so being in the industry, yeah, I want to show that he's the best, yada yada yada, saying that Zubby just has like local fans, and because Zubby is always acting the same role in all his movies, and that people like Zubby because he just sprays money, and people gather around him, and something about him and his evil friends, they borrow cars and they do this, like you're just saying like some really nasty comments, like it wasn't really nice to hear. But that aside, so in the process of Zubby trying to defend himself, he says he can buy Timini, which just made Timini go, yeah. So trying to diffuse the whole thing, Ebuka was now trying to say that no, like in terms of followings, like social media, Zubby has like a lot more followers than Timini does. Timini was still trying to push the point that cinema wise, he's popping there. Zubby is not this, Zubby is not that, Zubby is local, he's locally known, yada yada yada. So Jimmie on the other end was trying to make him understand that, okay, well, like you guys are both actors, I'm sure you people have already acted, you guys have acted movies together, like it's not a big deal. Then Timini was like, yeah, that we're both getting our bag, as far as we're able to provide for our families and put food on our table, that is cool. Trying to make light of the situation with all the heavy things he had to say earlier. But that's just like, by the way, just very funny the way Ebuka sort of, I won't say he instigated the whole thing, but he just piggybacked off what Timini had started. Was trying to get a conversation out of both of them, but I feel like he didn't see it going the way it did, you get. So yeah. And it was also funny when Jimmie was telling Ebuka to stop, that you think you're on your show, what do you mean, Zubby, will you take that? This is like, everything was just really, really funny. But Timini went low, with his jabs. After that, they were invited to the biggest basketball event in Africa, which they all, attended. And it was fun. Zubby enjoyed himself, although he didn't want to go. But you could see Zubby like shouting, jumping, foul, red card. This was like, it was really, really funny. Like Zubby, you could see like Zubby was his authentic self. He was his raw, authentic self, like throughout this show. Timmy also made a comment about how Zubby is very local, and Zubby was like, he doesn't like that word local, that he's just original, that's how he is, he's original, that he doesn't like him saying he's local, blah 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 blah. It was so funny because even at the basketball thing, the ones they were done with the games, people walked up to Zubby, like people recognized Zubby, and they were taking pictures with him and everything. And it was so funny because Timini that was saying that you're known locally, and to see how like his fans were just going crazy just to snap a picture with Zubby was just like And after that was done, I think the next morning, So we have Timini and Onoja at the dining area, then Jimmie and Alistair by the pool. So everybody is just talking, and Onoja was trying to understand like what the comments Jimmie made about Timini missing his wedding ceremony. And Timini was like, it's not a big deal, like he was busy, he couldn't attend this, but that he didn't see the need for Jimmie to bring it up, that at that time it seemed a bit disrespectful to him and everything. So Onoja was just trying to see like what was going on, and just like basically chipping in that okay, maybe it's something they need to address and talk about, but not like it's something that needs to be addressed. And Timmy was like, he's not down for that, he doesn't care, this that, and saying that Jimmie is like he wants to be the loudest person in the room, he wants to be heard, he wants to be seen. Poolside, we get to see Jimmie and Alistair talking, just like trying to get to know Alistair, asking what's your real name, this one, that one, that one, that I don't really know much about you, just trying to get to know him. So after that whole talk was had, he now Alistair asked him about the thing with Timini, like that he brought up, like he didn't even know about that. So yeah, Jimmie now said yeah, he feels it's something maybe they should talk about, because he feels like even Timini didn't expect it, like when it came out it was like a shock to him sort of. Basically Jimmie is like okay, he feels like maybe it was not the right time and right place for him to have brought that up, since it's something that happened like several months back. So maybe him and Timini would just have to sit down and talk about it and just address it. Meanwhile on the other end, Timini was just telling Onoja that he's not really interested in that he didn't know okay it really got to Jimmie as much as it did. So maybe next time he would, if Jimmie gets married again, he would show up for his wedding. So that was how that ended. Then with episode 2, Onoja organizes like this car ride, this speed racing thing that they do in Kigali there. So he got like some really talented riders to take them on the rides, and I think 2 people were not able to go on the car ride, but it was really fun for everybody else that went. After the ride, they went for dinner. Then Onoja after having that conversation with Timini, thought it's his place to bring up the thing that the comment Jimmie made, in the sense that he didn't directly go to Jimmie. So he was talking to Alistair and was like, Alistair, if I don't come for your wedding, would you take it personal? Like if I didn't attend your wedding, would you take it personal? Alistair was like yeah, he would. So it was really awkward, because it just came out of nowhere, and then he just faces just because he was like okay, I was asking because of how personal Jimmie took Timini not going for his wedding, and now brought the whole wedding matter to the table. Jimmie was like okay, that his own thing was like Timini was supposed to be like one of his groomsmen for his wedding, and like a couple of days before the wedding, Timmy calls him up and tells him that he can't come for the wedding, that he will be too busy to come for the wedding, just for Timmy to come pick somebody up at that same wedding. So he didn't understand why that happened. So in Timmy's defense, because it was making him look like a bad guy, he now gave us the big picture. So basically saying that prior to that happening, he remembers a conversation that they had over the phone, where Jimmie just called him and was just very rude to him, and just like, where the fuck are you, go get your measurements in, it's just down the road. You're just being basically very rude to him. And Timmy on the other end was like, what's going on here, like what's with the attitude and everything sha, basically like I'm the one going to be spending money to attend your wedding and everything. That he got upset with the way he spoke to me over the phone. That after the conversation, he just exited himself from the WhatsApp group and just decided not to go for the wedding. And because of like, he on his own end, he feels like okay, he should at least have tried to go for the wedding, and that was his bad. But he didn't like the way Jimmie spoke to him. So when that all came out, you could see, we could all see like Jimmie was okay, like now it's like let them have a conversation. And Jimmie was like he would rather they talk about it one-on-one, like trash it out personally. Then another guy was like okay, yeah, that it feels like it's something they should trash out like the rest on their own and everything. So Jimmie, I don't know why Jimmie snapped at Onoja, but his own thing was like everybody was jumping into his business. But mind you, Jimmie was the one that brought this wedding situation into the group in the first place. It was in a group setting. You mentioned the whole, oh, you didn't turn up at my wedding thing. So it was only fair that people talk about it, because you've given them, a reason to talk about it, and you're giving them something to talk about. So Jimmie just snaps and just goes off and like, no, but doesn't like people being in his business, yada yada yada. So him and Timini should go have a talk about it. So they both get up and they go to talk about it, and hearing Timini's side of the story, we just apologize to him that basically he was being a groomzilla then, like he didn't know, but he apologized for the way he acted. What then Timmy was like, yeah, that he also feels bad that he didn't turn up for his wedding. Basically they trashed it out and they were cool, they just hugged, romance, everything was cool. That aside, Alistair and Ebuka go on a trip. They go on a trip to Lake Kivu, so they just like had like a one-on-one time. So basically just like catching up and just talking about certain issues. For one, they had like a mutual friend who was a pilot who had died, and Ebuka felt like Alistair had not dealt with that very well, and just wanted to just talk to him and just see how he was dealing with all of that, because Alistair and the mutual friend who was Peter Bello, were very, very close, and he knew how hard it hit him. So just having a conversation about it and just know how he's dealing with it, if he has dealt with it. And Alistair was like, yeah, that he's handling it, he has handled it, but he's also dealing with it as it comes, that it's not a gradual process, but he lets himself remember Peter and everything. Then Ebuka also opens up about the fact of how his mother-in-law died like very early on into his marriage, and their daughter was like a couple of months or weeks old, but he had to leave his wife, go all the way to South Africa for work, like 3 weeks after the death of his mother-in-law, and that like eats him up a lot, because he feels very guilty for leaving his wife in that state of grief and not being there for her. So he sort of was just relating to how everybody deals with grief. After the whole talk, they shall go hang out with fishermen and just have like a cool, serene time. Then on the other end, the guys, Timini, Onoja, Zubby, and Jimmie go to play golf. So they all get dressed up, and as they're about to start playing, Onoja says they should like pray. It came out as a shock to all of them, but yeah, they all decided to just go along with it and just prayed, and then went on about their golfing thingy. So as they were golfing now, Jimmie brought up the whole thing. Onoja should not feel like, oh, he has forgotten what he did last night, about bringing up something that doesn't concern him. And Onoja was trying to make him understand that, I get what you're saying, but you were the one that brought this in front, like you brought it up in the group. So that was why I felt the need to just speak about it. So the conversation wasn't even going anywhere, and it just seemed like everybody was knocking heads, and there were lots of raised voices. At the point, even Zubby got upset, because Jimmie, you're the one that first started this whole thing about wedding thing, but why are you still bringing that issue to the golf course? And Timini on the other end was upset because he didn't understand why something that had been squashed was now being brought back again, like just let it go sort of thing. So the whole golfing experience just went crazy, because Onoja and Timmy left. Zubby and Jimmie were both at the field, and Zubby was just trying to make him understand that he should be calming down, like it's not that deep, like trying to make him understand where Onoja was coming from, and also trying to make him understand that we are all different people, we're all trying to get to know ourselves, so let's just give everybody room to be themselves and just try and understand people, and I should not act emotionally all the time. You should sort of like take things in and process it before he just reacts. And yeah, so that was it. After the golfing saga, Onoja, Timmy, and Zubby just head out into town. Zubby had this milk bar thing organized for the group, and Jimmie takes a ride out to go meet up with Ebuka and Alistair. So on the car ride to the milk bar. We're just talking about the golf incident, and yeah, Timini was like he doesn't understand why Jimmie brought it up when it's something that has been squashed already. They've already settled it, so why are you now bringing that again into the golf course? Like, we moved past it. Onaja on the other end was just saying that he was coming from a place of concern. He was trying to see, let them get to resolve, because it seemed like there was something that needed to be resolved. Like, that's the angle he was coming from. Then Zubby was like, yeah, that you meant well, but you did it the right thing at the wrong time, sort of thing. So everybody was just chipping in, you know, one to hear. So that aside, they get to the milk bar and they tried this milk, raw milk and fermented milk. So they had that milk experience. While, you know, Jimmie and caught up with Ebuka and Alistair. So Jimmie was just filling them in on what happened at the golf course, and Ebuka was like, I thought you guys already like handled that thing. Like, it's not, why are you people still carrying old matter into the new dish? So that's was it. Then they went about, you know, the coffee making process and just trying to know how coffee comes to be and everything sure. So like after the whole coffee and the milk bar thing, everybody comes back to the villa and they now catch up for breakfast. So that's that about, you know, episode 1, episode 2. So far so good. There seems to be a lot of drama coming from Timini's end alongside Jimmie's end. Apparently, from what, you know, the guys are saying, it seems like Jimmie is a very emotional and very expressive person. He just comes off, just reacts, expresses the way he feels. And Timini on the other end just seems to have a lot of ego, seems to have like a lot to prove, or he wants to show. And Ebuka, honestly, just being the Ebuka like I expected him to be, just cool, calm and collected. And yeah, so far so good. Very different scene, you know, men have like this little back and forth, this banter and this thing is very weird but very different in a good way. So if you've seen, you know, Ebuka's Turn Up Africa episode 1 and episode 2, tell me in the comment section, did you enjoy it? Who did you like out of all the guys and the group? Then like and subscribe if you want to see what happens in episodes 3 and 4. Trust me, you don't want to miss anything because it gets crazy. Ebuka, Timini, Zubby. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I upload the new video. Thank you for watching.